Top 10 potential Ionia raid bosses in the Riot MMO. Ionia's got so much potential for the Riot MMO. It's not just raid bosses, world bosses. There's a ton. Ionia feels one of the most built out zones already in the world. Like if we go to the map here, really nowhere is more built out than Ionia. I would say the closest to being built out like Ionia is Noxus. I mean, look how many events we have already. Like we're in the Spirit Blossom event right now. Do you know any other zones that have that many events as Ionia gets? I can't list another one that's as close to being as defined, have as many character stories. I mean, even the people designing the MMO, well, writing the story, right? The people who write the story seem to be drawn to Ionia. Ionia has the most champions out of any region in Runeterra. And to me, what that says is that if you're a writer and you're creating content around Runeterra, they are eager to create content in Ionia. That's what it looks like to me. Like Ionia already had the largest champion list, and yet we got Yunara as the newest champion. So the creators like it. Let's do it. Top 10 potential Ionian raid bosses. Ionia, known as the First Lands, is an archipelago where magic is intrinsically woven into the landscape and the spirit realm bleeds into the material world. It is a place of profound beauty, ancient traditions, and delicate balance. However, the brutal Noxian invasion shattered that balance, leaving behind a fractured populace. Some seek a return to pacifism, while others, radicalized by war, demand militarization and vengeance. Now Ionia exists in an uneasy peace. Different reactions to the war have divided the region. Some groups, such as the Shojin monks or the Kinko order, seek a return to isolationist pacifism and pastoral traditions. Other more radical factions, such as the Navori Brotherhood or the Order of Shadow, demand a militarization of the land's magic to create a single unified nation that can take vengeance on Noxus. Much of Ionia is built around, like the current history at least, is built around that Noxian-Ionian war. Noxus attacked Ionia. They've wanted Ionia for a long time. We now know how they found that way in, based on the Mbessa book. So it turns out that Mbessa took Kumangra for Noxus, because Noxus was tired of paying freaking Piltover every time they wanted to trade with Shurima, or trade with anywhere, right? Probably most likely Shurima. Now, people will say, well, that's not the case because Noxus could have just walked down here and then, shipped their goods across. Boats are way faster than horseback. Noxus wants to be able to travel all the way down here and then dock and go through Piltover and Zon, right? And then bring your goods here. That's the fastest way. You can't go around the other side. And so Noxus is continually playing Piltover at tilt, which is why Piltover is so rich, is because of their location, because of their trade between Valoran and southern Shurima, which is what this continent's called. So Mbessa was taking Kumangra, ends up finding an Ionian people who rule there. They're weakening the forest, which is causing the Vastaya to become weaker, and the Vastaya don't like that. And so that's where Mbessa comes in. She picks up one of the Vastayan there, and she delivers them to Boram Darkwill as like a gift for his favor. And Boram Darkwill uses that Vastaya. That Vastaya agrees to it in aid for them giving them Kumangra again, finding a way into Ionia, which is how the Noxian-Ionian War starts. That's how Noxus finds its way into Ionia, because they couldn't before. Ionia is like a magical land, impossible to get to. Ionia is an archipelago. I thought it was just one big island. It is. It's one massive island. I mean, well, it's like Hawaii, right? I guess you could say. Like, this is the massive island part, but it's very much broken up into a bunch of little islands. This looks like it's very honestly pretty accurate. Like, if you see Hawaii, you know how like the anatomical plates move, they shift. Hawaii is literally like a volcano that just traveled. So this volcano, right, was surfacing, started off underwater here, and is traveling this way. And it gets closer and closer to the surface. And the closer it gets to the surface, the more lava comes out, which forms the land. And this is the volcano right now. It's all the way over here. It's very dormant. Ionia is like Hawaii in that aspect. So it's like it started this way, a little bit of land, a little bit of land, a little bit of land, and it keeps getting bigger. And Hawaii is the same way. Hawaii on map. Yeah, seems like a bunch of little islands. That is how you make an island. And that's Ionia. Alright. In the upcoming Riot MMO, this fractured balance presents immense opportunities for conflict from criminal underworlds and shadow orders to ancient demons and vengeful spirits, Ionia is teeming with potential raid encounters that could challenge even the most seasoned adventurers. That's where Ionia is. Top 10 raid bosses. The first group that we're going to fight in Ionia is going to be the Navori Brotherhood. I really believe that. The Navori Brotherhood represents the radicalized elements of Ionia, those who rejected pacifism and embraced nationalism following the Noxian invasion. They are fiercely territorial and willing to use violence to achieve their vision of a unified, militarized Ionia. Raid encounter analysis. A raid against the Navori Brotherhood would not be against a single entity, but a sprawling encounter through a fortified stronghold or a captured village. Players would face waves of diverse combatants, from agile blade scouts and elusive conspirators to hardened highwaymen and brigands. The encounter would test the raid's ability to handle coordinated assaults and adapt to different martial styles, culminating in a confrontation with the Brotherhood's leadership, which we don't really know who the Navori Brotherhood's leadership is, but I'd love to see that fleshed out in the Riot MMO. So this is like the different Navori. The Blade Scout's actually a Yordle, and they just have some text showing like them doing what they're doing. I was a traveling musician until the Noxians came. Now I'm scraping by on stolen coin. Mother was right. Should have been a healer. And the brigand behind him says, "Abandoned on the road means more in the brush." They were people of Ionia, but they've just, after the Nox-Ionian War, they've kind of changed their mentality and now believe that fighting maybe is the way. And that will be the first group that we fight. I feel like Navori Brotherhood are a great introduction to Ionia in your first combat. They're very grounded, and they're just like a radicalized group. Navori Brotherhood. Okay, Sett's fighting pits. I think this will come next because it's grounded in it's still grounded. It's not too cosmic. Sett is powerful, but there's a lot of non-powerful characters that will come up in his raid. In the wake of the war, the criminal underground flourished. At the center of this empire of gambling and vice stands Sett, the half-beast, who rose from a humble challenger to the undisputed boss of the Navori fighting pits. The half-beast, who reigns supreme in the pit, now runs his illicit enterprises with the same iron fist. Anytime someone challenges his authority, he personally reminds them where they stand. Every punch Sett throws is a blow to his old life of poverty and ostracism, and he intends to make sure that old life stays down. Raid encounter analysis. A raid into Sett's arena would be a gladiatorial spectacle. It wouldn't just be a fight against a boss, but a gauntlet through the most notorious champions and enforcers. So the enforcers would be the Bull, Mako, and Knuckle. The first major encounter would be a council fight against Sett's heavy hitters. This trio would test the raid's coordination, forcing them to manage 3 distinct fighting styles simultaneously. So the Bull, this is him, his body tapestry of scars and ink telling his brutal legend. Bull now serves as mentor and sparring partner to Jack. He's saving the last bit of fighting spirit for an opponent worthy enough to merit one last scrap. And that'll be a huge group raid, I think. Mako, you're a small fish, I'll keep swimming. And then Knuckle. Little nickery, little slice there, all in good fun. Bit of blood in the water never hurt anybody. Well, not me anyways. That's Knuckle. The old timer I think will show up in the raid, and he's pretty interesting. A mysterious masked fighter. The old timer provides a compelling narrative hook. Voice lines strongly suggest he might be Sett's absentee father, the Noxian pit fighter who abandoned his family. Look at these are some of the voice lines. Sett says, "Careful you don't break your hip in there, old man." And the old timer says, "You don't know who you're talking to, boy." And then Sett, "Hey, you kind of look like someone I hate." And the old timer said, "Oh yeah? Then why don't we work it out in the ring?" So the old timer, at least in Legends of Runeterra, seems to be implied to at least have some relationship to Sett and could be his father. This fight could involve mechanics related to his mask and hidden identity, perhaps revealing his true strength as the fight progresses. Then there's Jack the winner. While Sett is the boss, Jack is perhaps the most dangerous man in the pits. Bull describes him as almost decent until he gets that blood smell in his nose. A fight with Jack would be brutal and unrelenting, a pure DPS check against a fighter who grows stronger the longer the fight lasts. So this is Jack level 1 art. You gotta be brave or dumb to stand against me, but either way, the outcome's the same. My advice? Worry about making it out alive. There's Jack level 2. Jack ain't all bad, but once he gets that blood smell in his nose, well, I don't think there's a more dangerous man alive. Bull. And so I think that we'll fight Jack. I think we'll see both of these evolutions, and Jack will be a fight to kill. I don't think he'll be alive post that fight. Unlike the main event, Sett. After we go through the whole encounter, we uncover something about Jack, we end up fighting him, and then the final fight will be with Sett. Sett himself. And this wouldn't necessarily be a fight to the death, but rather a challenge to his authority. The arena itself would be a hazard, with the crowd roaring and potentially interfering. Sett's mechanics would revolve around the savage strength and ability to take punishment, utilizing his brass knuckles to pulp his enemies, as detailed in his color story, Big Head Bad News. So Sett level 1, basking in the roar of the crowd packed into his exclusive underground arena, he knows one thing for certain though. It's good to be the boss. And Sett level 2, problem with being the boss is that for most, you get soft. So I'm grateful for all this chaos. Finally, someone brings the beast out of me. So I think after we fight all these guys and after we defeat Jack, Sett will challenge us just so he can, like, you know, continue to grow his strength and test his own ability. But I don't think we'd kill Sett. He's too much of like a popular character for him to just kill him. So right now we have the Navori Brotherhood. I think that's going to be our first raid encounter. Absolutely. Like that'll be the first raid in Ionia. Will be the Navori Brotherhood. And then following that, we'll go into the Sett's fighting pits. And that's where we're at now. And it's top 10, so we still got 8 to go. Next up, Jhin, the Virtuoso. Kahara Jhin is a meticulous criminal psychopath who views murder as art. Once known as the Golden Demon, he terrorized Ionia before being captured by Master Kusho, Shen, and Zed. Now freed by shadowy elements within Ionia's ruling council, he stages gruesome performances across Runeterra. Jhin's I think the line that describes him the most, he says, "Art requires a certain cruelty." Using his gun as his paintbrush, Jhin creates works of artistic brutality, horrifying victims and onlookers. He gains a cruel pleasure from putting on this gruesome theater, making him the ideal choice to send the most powerful of messages: terror. Jhin may be being used by like some secret organization within Ionia, secret government organization, to instill terror and fear into the people. And terror is a great tool for controlling people. Raid encounter analysis. A raid against Jhin would be a theatrical nightmare, taking place in a grand opera house or a meticulously prepared stage in the Ionian wilderness. The entire raid would be a performance dictated by Jhin's obsession with the number 4. The prelude would be the maker and the witness these people could show up in his raid. Before facing the Virtuoso, the raid must confront his key collaborators: the maker who crafts the exquisite weapons and the witness who ensures his art is seen. This prelude fight would introduce the raid to the themes of precision and timing required for the main event. The artisan behind the Virtuoso's tools is the maker, and then the witness is those who observe the performance. And this is the witness. So somehow I think, you know, they'll show up and we'll have to deal with them in the Jhin's raid. The performance fight with Jhin would be structured in 4 acts. Mechanics would involve, it has to be 4. With Jhin, it's going to be 4. The fight with Jhin would be structured in 4 acts. Mechanics would revolve around his perfect bullets infused with magic, as detailed in his color story, The Man with the Steel Cane. And these bullets don't just kill, they rearrange the body into horrific art. The gun held 4 shots. Each bullet had been infused with magical energy. Each bullet was the paint from which his art would flow. Each bullet was a masterpiece. It didn't just cut apart the body, it rearranged it. Players would need to avoid being hit by the 4th shot, which would guarantee a devastating critical strike. The arena would be littered with traps, sharp steel blades shaped like flowers. The players must navigate, and the final act would be his crescendo, a desperate race to stop Jhin before he completes his masterpiece and wipes out the raid. And this is just like a cinematic, and you can see Jhin does this shot, shoots this person, you can see like the flowers growing out of them. This person just got shot as well. And you can see like these people, it's like Jhin shoots you and like nature grows out of you. Imagine how painful that is. But Jhin sees it as art. This guy's definitely in pain and dying because a tree just grew out of him, which doesn't sound very nice. Jhin level 1 overture. We open on the city of Quionvi. The actor is keen, but he does not yet take his place. For now, he simply prepares, waiting in the wings. And then the finale. And so Quionvi is a place that Jhin set up to destroy. He kills like 4 Noxians. There's a whole story around it. I have like Legend of Terror cards of the day that show this. And it could be centered around Kwayamvi is where we have the Jhin raid. I think that'd be pretty cool. Airis, lure of Evelynn. Ionia is not just threatened by mortals and spirits, ancient demons also stalk the First Lands. Evelynn, Agony's embrace, thrives on the pain and suffering of others. She often uses lures, beings, or facades designed to draw victims into her grasp. The demon realized it needed a shape that was pleasing to humans, one that would not only lure them right into its claws, but would offer them ecstasy born of their own desires, so that their pain would be that much sweeter. And Evelynn is in Legends of Runeterra, or in Wild Rift. And I've said it before, Evelynn uses her particular assets to draw people in, you know, and that's how she gets you. So, almost like the sin of lust, I would say. So stay away from Evelynn. Raid encounter analysis for Airis. This is who I'm talking about. This is Airis. It's clearly someone portraying and trying to look like a one of Ahri's people who we know are extinct, right? Ahri's the last one. You see in Rune King that there were a couple that were on the Shadow Isles doing research and studying, and they're all dead. So Ahri's the last of her kind. But Airis appears to be one such lure operating in Ionia. Taking on the appearance of a friendly Vastaya, Airis guides unsuspecting mortals to their doom, directly into the claws of Evelynn. Her card literally reads, "Hush, we're nearly there. You said you wanted to meet my friend, didn't you? Trust me, she's going to love you." A raid encounter with Airis would be a fight against deception and charm. The battle would take place in a shadowy, obscured environment. Airis would attempt to charm or isolate members of the raid, leading them into deadly traps or shadowy ambushes. As Evelynn prefers her daisies tall and healthy because they are the most satisfying to cut down. From her color story, the tallest daisy. The raid must stick together and expose the demon lurking beneath the friendly facade. So this, I think, is like a demon that's working with Evelynn, and we'll have to face them ahead of time. Next up, 6. The Siege of Mistfall, Kayn and Rost. I think that would be an awesome raid. This Shadiah Kayn, Zed's most arrogant and talented student, wields Rost, a sentient darkened scythe. They are locked in a fateful struggle, mastery or consumption. This conflict could culminate in a devastating assault on one of Ionia's most sacred sites. The child is gone. The killer remains. Raid encounter analysis, the Siege of Mistfall. A compelling raid scenario involves Kayn's assault on the Wuju Temple at Mistfall. Lore established in Legends of Runeterra reveals that another darkened weapon, the blood letters belonging to Zolani, was hidden there, guarded by Master Yi. So here's the Mistfall Temple, the sacred temple of Mistfall, home of the Wuju Order. And here's Master Yi, the steadfast guardian of the Wuju Temple. By the way, Master Yi is literally one of the most powerful humans in all of Runeterra. I mean, Master Yi is no joke. And this is the darkened blood letters. The twin blades imprisoned the darkened Zolani, hidden deep within the temple. Driven by Rost's desire to reunite with his brethren and his own ambition, Kayn launches a brutal attack on the temple. This raid would see players arriving to aid Master Yi and the Wuju disciples against the onslaught. So we wouldn't be there aiding Jhin, or aiding Kayn and Rost, right? We'd be there defending the temple with the Wuju masters and Master Yi. Phase 1, the Shadow Reaper's Assault. The initial major boss fight would be against Kayn himself. He would utilize the shadow magic to dart through the battlefield, phasing through temple walls and isolating targets. The raid must coordinate to corner him while dealing with the ongoing siege around them. So Kayn's assault, Kayn breaches the defenses of the Wuju Temple at Mistfall. And then here's literally Kayn fighting Master Yi, which is insane because again, Master Yi is really powerful. He was a master of Wuju, and neither shame nor shadow would win the day. That's Master Yi. The massacre, the Wuju disciples fell before Kayn's relentless onslaught. As another body fell, Kayn let out a gleeful laugh, knowing that he would soon unleash the second darkened weapon that lay below. Within him, Ross's anticipation grew, knowing that Kayn's undoing was finally near. I always say this, guys, Kayn is way more powerful than we're led to believe. I know people are saying like this new character Jhin is really powerful. He is, but knowledge is power. He had the knowledge on how to imprison Darkin. The other Darkin didn't. So every fight that he had was an unfair advantage. So I don't know, like if that really qualifies him as being like this one of the most powerful Darkins. Him just being able to imprison other Darkin. I think Ross is still the most powerful Darkin, and he's manipulating Kayn. Didn't Noxus wipe out all the Wuju Blade users except for Yi, or are there still some alive? Technically, this event that we're describing didn't happen yet. These are future possibilities. So Kayn attacking the temple is one possibility, Ross taking over his body is one possibility, and then Zolani taking over one of Master Yi's students and then heading to Shurima is another possibility. These are future events that could happen, but not actual events that did happen. But if this event does happen, then yeah, every single one of the Wuju Temple students dies, leaving only Master Yi alive. But right now we're here, with Master Yi just training his students. This raid encounter would be implying that this scenario does take place, with Kayn attacking the Wuju Temple. The transformation, phase 2. As the fight progresses, Kayn reaches the altar. In this scenario, Kayn seizes the bloodletters. The influx of power is too much. Rost overwhelms Kayn's will and consumes him completely. A fierce and sudden flash of anger overwhelmed Kayn, and a terrible, searing pain passed behind his eyes, bringing him to his knees. Ross's triumphant laughter echoed all around him. He had known this day would come, the day he would finally prevail or lose himself to the Darkin. That's Kayn level 2. And then phase 3 is Rost Unleashed. The final boss of the raid is not Kayn, but the fully realized Darkin, Rost. In a terrifying display of power shown in the Legend of Runeterra lore, Rost claims the bloodletters for himself, becoming an immensely powerful entity wielding multiple Darkin weapons. I mean, this Rost is literally overpowered Zolani, no problem, and now has full control over Kayn and probably a vessel that will last him a very long time, unlike Aatrox, who just like burns through vessels. Rost let out a triumphant howl, years of waiting, yearning, and now he was finally free. He lifted Zolani's blade and put them to his tongue, savoring the taste of fresh blood. He closed his eyes in bliss, and a smile crept across his face for the first time in millennia. The reaping had begun. I just feel like it's so interesting that Ross's weapon is a scythe, which is used to harvest, right? You're harvesting crops. And Ross, I really believe, is playing the long game with Kayn and letting him grow before he harvests him, to harvest him at the right time. Didn't Noxus wipe out all the Wuju Blade users except for Yi? Or are others some still alive? Oh, so you're talking, yeah. So Noxus did wipe out a lot of the Wuju Blade Masters because Master Yi was so powerful. Master Yi like freaking destroyed so many Noxians that they were just terrified of the Wuju Blade Masters. But Master Yi is currently teaching like a new group of Wuju Masters, so Wuju Blade users. So that while they did get wiped out, currently there are new ones growing up and being trained under Master Yi. But the original ones, you're right, they all got cooked because they were just like, these Wuju masters, these Wuju people are insane. They're way too powerful. Kill them all. So when Master Yi was out fighting a battle, they went to the Wuju temple and killed all of them. Gotta allow the mortal body to acclimate to the dark and corruption before taking it. Wow, yes, exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Kayn is just being manipulated by Rost, and Rost is using him to like form the perfect vessel that he can use for a very long time. That's what it is. Absolutely. That's my take as well. Yeah, I think Ross is playing a very long game, and he's a patient one, and that's why his weapon's a scythe, which represents that. And the fact that he now has Zolani and his own blade, and like he tastes fresh blood, which by the way is Zolani's power of hemomancy. I don't know if that implies that he can now use hemomancy, but that would be insane. Red Kayn is superior to Blue Kayn in every way. Yeah, Red Kayn is tapping into the Darkin, and then Blue Kayn is tapping into like more of the shadow magic that he learned under Zed. But I agree. You're right. Red Kayn is superior than Blue Kayn. That's just for people that don't know what he meant by the Red Kayn and Blue Kayn. That's what he's talking about right here. Red Kayn is Rost, Blue Kayn is Shadow Assassin. Next up, number 5. We're starting to get into some more powerful characters. Like these ones are going to be like, I put Zed above Kayn. I wouldn't put him above Rost. So just saying that. So I'm organizing by power, but I didn't know where to put Kayn because Kayn I don't think is as powerful as Zed, but then I didn't know how to like organize it here, but I wouldn't put Zed more powerful than Rost. Just wanted to clarify that. Zed, once a dedicated student of the Kinku Order, became disillusioned with their passive approach during the Noxian invasion. He embraced forbidden shadow magic and used it to assassinate his own master, Kusho, seizing control and founding the ruthless Order of Shadow. Balance is a fool's master, said Zed. Utterly ruthless and without mercy, Zed is the leader of the Order of Shadow, an organization he created with the intent of militarizing Ionia's magical and martial traditions. During the war, desperation led him to unlock the secret shadow form, a malevolent spirit magic as dangerous and corrupting as it is powerful. Raid and counter-analysis. Infiltrating the Order of Shadow's temple would be a raid focused on stealth, misdirection, and confronting darkness. Players wouldn't just fight Zed, but the very shadows themselves. We'd also have to deal with Yusari, the challenger. Before reaching Zed, players might face his elite acolytes, such as Yusari. Driven from his lands, Yusari seeks to prove himself worthy to Zed's teachings. This fight would be a high-mobility duel against the Master Assassin. Your order has thrust us from our lands. You've proved your power, Master Zed. Now let me prove that I too am worthy of your teachings. And this cinematic does show Zed in a fight. The final confrontation with Zed would be a terrifying battle against illusion and darkness. Zed would utilize shadow clones, forcing the raid to identify the real target amidst the chaos. Mechanics would involve managing light and shadows in the arena. The fight would culminate in his signature death mark, a massive burst of damage that the raid must mitigate or survive. Zed's an interesting one because is he a bad character? Like, is he evil? No, not really. I mean, he just feels like Ionia needs to defend itself, and this pastoral traditions and pacifism isn't working for us. Like, Noxus came in and just brutalized the entire nation. We need a defense against it, and we should use what's at hand, which is the magic of Ionia, to defend Ionia. So is Zed bad? No. But would he make an awesome raid fight? Heck yeah. And I don't know if we would kill Zed. I feel like we wouldn't kill him at the end of this. He would survive somehow, and we'd end up finding a balance between him and Shen, kind of working together. Balance is a fool's master. The shadows have shown me true power. Few men think to look back at their shadow. It is their last mistake. Here's another cinematic that shows Zed. More shots of the Order of Shadow and Zed in the Breathe cinematic from Legends of Runeterra. Next up, Fiddlesticks and the Nightmare of the Dreaming Tree. This, I think, is an awesome one. I'd say this one is almost guaranteed. This will be a raid in Ionia. The Dreaming Tree, nestled in the Garden of Forgetting, gathers humanity's dreams. It is tended by Lilia, the bashful bloom, but a darkness is encroaching. The tree is growing sick, infected with burls and darkness, and the dreams are turning into nightmares. So you could see, not in this image, but the next image you would see more of that. Lilia did her best to nurture her mother tree and the dreams that remained in its buds, but it was not long before the garden became so weak that the violence of the world spilled in. And I want to play this, but I'll play this toward the end. Raid and counter-analysis, a demonic invasion. This raid would be a journey into the heart of the Dreaming Tree itself, not corrupted by an external force. Legends of Runeterra cards suggest a terrifying culprit, Fiddlesticks, the ancient fear. So here's Lilia level 1. At the heart of the Garden of Forgetting, a strange corruption can now be seen within the dewdrops, and the dreams they show turning haunted and dark. And look, by the way, this is really interesting. You can recognize who that is right there. I'm pretty sure that's Lux Illuminated that Lilia is looking at. And that's another dream that Fiddlesticks infected. And so I think that Fiddlesticks infected Lux's dream via the Dreaming Tree in Ionia. So keep that in mind. That Fiddlesticks infected Lux's dream all the way in Demacia by infiltrating the Dreaming Tree in Ionia. That's how Fiddlesticks is getting into dreams. And you could see Lilia fighting all these crows off right here. And this vine is grabbing her staff and the crows are flying by. As if a twisted corruption had taken root within them, threatening to leave dreamers standing in their own dangerous nightmares. Note, the crows, Fiddlesticks' signature. Fiddlesticks is a primordial entity of fear known to infiltrate dreams and manifest fears. In Demacia, it appeared to Lux in a dream as an aberrant mage seeker. It takes on the form that you fear. Obviously, Lux, being a mage in Demacia, is afraid of mage seekers. The terror of all living things given life in the first terrible scream of creation. A demon before demons were known. Here's the aberrant Mage Seeker, Fiddlesticks' guise. He says, Lady Crownguard. The Mage Seeker materialized out of the shadows. His entreating smile seemed too wide for his half-obscured face. Why don't you follow me? There's also Dreamlight Alina, Lux's dream. Fiddlesticks infiltrates the dream of its victims, twisting their hopes into fears. The raid would fight alongside Lilia, defending the heart of the tree from swarms of Azakana. I want to show this, actually. Before we move on, let's go to Lux Illuminated. So this is Lux Illuminated, right? You can see her with her staff. Look here. Lilia is describing that the dreams have become corrupted. That's Lux Illuminated, right? 100%. Okay, so that's how Fiddlesticks is getting into dreams. And then if you guys want to see these voice lines, that whoever did the voice lines for Aberrant Mage Seeker freaking killed it. This is the Aberrant Mage Seeker. Gerald Lightfeather, by the way, it's clear that Lux has a crush on Ezreal. So here's his voice line.
Come with me, little mage.
You, Mage Seeker. You are not familiar to me.
We seek and protect. We seek and we seek.
What is it you seek?
Isn't that interesting?
Lady Crownguard, the dark awaits.
I will go nowhere with you.
A lantern crushed, a light snuffed out.
I will show you no mercy, Mage Seeker.
Look at this. And then Dreamlight Alina says,
My sprites are acting kind of funny.
like Dreamlight Alina and Gerald Lightfeather are almost like Lux's antibodies to Fiddlesticks within her dream.
She sees it. She knows. The sprite child, the light searing.
That's not playing, but it says, what's wrong? What's wrong, mister?
I don't trust the likes of you, sir.
But you know me. You've always known me.
I am not assured that you are a mage seeker at all.
Yeah, the skin, it itches.
Yeah. So I think Lux Illuminated is one of the greatest stories that they told in Legends of Runeterra, tying in Fiddlesticks the way they did, all the way back to Lilia and the Dreaming Tree. And that's how Fiddlesticks infiltrated Lux's dream. I know it's like, you just have to like reach for all these stories, but Legends of Runeterra does a great job with these little side stories. And I think that this will absolutely be something that we have to deal with in Ionia, dealing with the Dreaming Tree and Fiddlesticks' corruption of it, and then that'll tie in Lux and her dream as well. I would love to like imagine you dive into this dream and actually see the Lux Illuminated vision and have to help Lux defend herself against Fiddlesticks. I was somewhat confused when they released Lux Illuminated. And we seek, I think it takes, I looked at Lux Illuminated maybe like 20 different times, 20 different ways before I actually figured out like, oh, this is all connected, and Lilia and the Dreaming Tree and Fiddlesticks. Like nothing is told to you. They don't tell you that Aberrant Mage Seeker is Fiddlesticks. They don't tell you that that Gerald Lightfeather and the Lilia are both like Lux antibodies within her dream, and that Lilia is her as a child, and that maybe she has a crush on Ezreal kind of thing. They don't tell you that Fiddlesticks got into her dream through the Dreaming Tree. All this stuff needs to be connected by like you, the player, which I honestly like that about Legends of Runeterra, but it does make it where it's harder for players to follow the story that they're trying to tell. Hello, that's evil. Yes, Fiddlesticks is the embodiment of freaking evil. So how this will go. So Fiddlesticks is a primordial entity. I think I talked about that. And the raid would fight alongside Lilia, defending the heart of the tree from swarms of Azakana, which are lesser demons feeding on negative emotion and manifestations of nightmare. There's a ton of Azakana in Ionia, and Fiddlesticks would actually absolutely use them as freaking cannon fodder against us. The environment would constantly shift, reflecting the chaotic nature of the dreams. The final fight against Fiddlesticks would involve managing fear mechanics, dispelling illusions, and identifying the real demon among its effigies. And we'll fight Fiddlesticks in one of these dreams. I think we're going to be going in and out of these dreams. One of them is going to be Lux Illuminated's dreams, which we'll fight Fiddlesticks in there and fight the Aberrant Mage Seeker. All of those dreams will be Fiddlesticks in different dreams, and we'll have to fight them in like different mechanics. It'll be awesome, guys. Like this is one of the fights I'd be most excited about within the Ionia raids. So this is a great idea. This is a great one. Okay. If Riot ever asks anyone for feedback, be like, hey, Riot, I'd really love to do the Nightmare of the Dreaming Tree raid, please and thank you. Okay. We need to make sure they know that we want this one, because I really want it, please. Next up, number 3, The Guardians of the Wilds. Yeah, I had no idea. Well, glad we know. I always feel like the best thing about this community is people tell me stuff that I don't know. And then, you know, we all like kind of come to, everyone finds a piece and then we all get together and like make the complete story. So now you know. And feel free to tell me stuff that I don't know. I feel like there's always more lore that I'm not aware of, and I'm always surprised. Just about connecting the dots. The Guardians of the Wilds. Ionia's magic is ancient and wild, embodied by powerful spirits and Vestayan elders who fiercely protect the natural balance. If adventures in the MMO disrupt this balance, perhaps through resource gathering, pollution, or aiding factions like the Order of Shadow, they may incur the wrath of these guardians. Raid encounter analysis, Nature's Fury. This raid would be an environmental epic, taking place in the deepest, most sacred groves of Ionia. It would be a council-style raid, forcing players to confront multiple powerful entities simultaneously, led by the enigmatic Tailcloak Matriarch, which is this girl here. Mystery is a greater thing than its conclusion. The Council. The raid would face a coalition of guardians, each presenting unique challenges. There's the Windsinger, which is chaos giving claws to the meek. We are the branch, we are the wind, and we would deal with like a bunch of wind mechanics from this person. There's the Pathless Ancient. Himanshi, it's an honor to travel with you. Where are we heading? Oh dear, I was following you. And that's Ari and the Pathless Ancient. He's also known as like the Monkey King. There's the Liminal Guardian, my best quality. I sleep like a rock. And then Sen and Thousand Tales. The forest offers its secrets freely, but few bear the courage to ask questions of it. Now, this could be like a test fight, like we're fighting them before we go and try to help defend Ionia, and they're like training us kind of thing. Or it could be that we literally go into Ionia and somehow they blame us for the corruption of the land because of our violence, I guess, right? Or something like that. And so they actually fight us. The fight would require the raid to manage the overlapping powers of the Council, Windsinger's chaotic storms, the ancient terrain manipulation, the Guardian's swift strikes, and Sinan's potent magic, before facing the Matriarch's overwhelming spiritual might. So I think that could be a really cool raid. Next up, the veil between realms is thin in Ionia, making it vulnerable to incursion. Shen, the Eye of Twilight, has sensed the growing threat in the liminal space, localized around the artifact known as the Darkened Fan. In the bridge between worlds, I have long sensed the shadow that pulses with silent rage. The pulse has lately grown stronger, faster, and I fear the creatures of the spirit realm will soon begin searching for it. This is it, the fan in the spirit realm. Raid encounter analysis, the shadow is Praa the Breachwalker, a powerful Darkin who has managed to step through the divide into Runeterra, driven by the call of Aatrox. A raid against Praa would take place at the nexus of this breach, perhaps a corrupted spiritual site in Ionia. So wherever Praa resurfaces, was going to be somewhere in Ionia. I think that this raid encounter will take place at that location. His general's call stirred him from slumber. Slowly, inexorably, he stepped through the divide and buried his feet in Runeterra's soil once more. For Aatrox, for victory, for peace, for death. Praa the Breachwalker. The encounter would involve preventing Praa from fully anchoring himself in Ionia. The environment would be unstable, with rifts opening to the darkened realm. I'm supposed to say spirit realm. Spawning lesser demons. I screwed up there. To corrupting the landscape. Praa himself would be a formidable warrior, utilizing blood magic and powerful sweeping attacks. The raid would need to utilize Ionian spirit magic to sever Praa's corrupt connection to force him back through the breach. Alright, number 1, Syndra. This is the most powerful character in Ionia and will absolutely be like the final raid boss for Ionia, and she's gonna be pissed. Syndra represents the ultimate unchecked power in Ionia. Her immense magical potential, fueled by frustration and betrayal, was so great that the spirit of Ionia itself intervened, trapping her in the magical slumber deep beneath the island of Phalor for decades. This video, I always play it backwards because I feel like, but this video shows her emerging from this dreaming pool of Phalor. And so if you just reverse it, right? If you just reverse it, that's like her being pulled into the dreaming pool. And that's what the world of Ionia, like the land of Ionia, did to her. Literally, it's like the land defended itself. Syndra's magic was so potent, so corrupting, that the land itself rose up and pulled her into the dreaming pool, into a slumber. And this would be her awakening, and this would be a prelude to her raid fight. That's her in the dreaming pool. She's been put to sleep by the magic of Ionia. This is her waking up. Such a great cinematic. Just destroys the whole island of Phalor. Yeah, and now she's pissed. So never had negative energy been so concentrated in one place, and it was the spirit of Ionia that swelled to counter it. The bedrock opened up beneath Syndra, dragging her down to suppress her powers and trap her in magical slumber. Now she is awake, freed during the chaos of the Ionian civil unrest. The literal Noxian Ionian war led to Syndra awakening. Syndra ripped the fortress of Phalor from the island and raised it into the skies, a display of terrifying power. She ripped the fortress that was imprisoning her. A raid against Syndra would be a capstone of an Ionian expansion, requiring players to assault her floating fortress in the sky. The entire raid would be a battle against gravity and raw, negative magic. Players would navigate the fractured remnants of the fortress. The environment would be constantly shifting and collapsing, and the final concentration would take place at the apex of the fortress. Syndra would utilize her full arsenal, forcing players to manage the dark spheres orbiting her, which are manifestations of her bitterness and rage, as detailed in her story, The Dreaming Pool. The fight would be a desperate struggle to contain her power before she unleashes enough negative energy to destabilize the First Lands entirely. It would be the ultimate test of the raid's ability to withstand overwhelming magical force. Syndra, a great character, doesn't even get enough love, honestly, and will be the final raid boss of Ionia. Honorable mentions: Test of the Twilight, Shen, the Eye of Twilight. I think leading up to the Praa the Breachwalker, we'll have to work with Shen, and I think he'll help us in that fight. Shen, the leader of the Kinko Order, is dedicated to maintaining the balance between the spirit and material realms. He is not an enemy, but he is dispassionate and uncompromising in his duty. Before allowing adventurers to enter the spirit realm or confront threats that might destabilize the balance like Praa or Fiddlesticks, Shen would undoubtedly test their resolve and capabilities. This would not be a fight to the death, but a rigorous trial. Players must prove they can navigate the dangers of the spirit world without causing further harm. It would be a mechanics-heavy encounter focused on precision, defense, and understanding the flow of spiritual energy. And then for Ionia, there's so much potential for world bosses in Ionia. There really are. Ionian world bosses. The wilds of Ionia are home to magnificent and dangerous creatures that roam the landscape, presenting threats to entire zones. These world bosses would require large groups of players to defeat. You have the Empyrean, which is the sky itself heaved as coils of clouds and powerful winds flattened our brigade. We tried to follow it, but who can chase the wind? Another world boss would be the Cloud Drinker. Its songs could be heard from the villages, long, low waves of sound rippling from the sky to hillside, each as formless and strange as the afternoon clouds. Royal Shimmerwing. In these jungles, I've constantly found the most beautiful specimens to be the deadliest predators, Anura. And finally, the Spirit of Wuju. Master Doran believed each eye of the Spirit of Wuju offered unique insights into a person's being. Lu, Discipline of Doran. And that's Lu right there, and that's the Spirit of Wuju. I think that these would be amazing world raid bosses for Ionia, and Ionia has a ton of potential for the Riot MMO, and I easily came up with, just from what's already available, some great raid encounters. We're gonna start with the Navori Brotherhood. We're gonna go through the basics. Navori Brotherhood, just a group that believes that Ionia should radicalize and actually defend itself militarily. We'll then fight in Sett's fighting pits, facing characters like the Bull, Mako, and Knuckle. Eventually culminating, we'll meet the old timer, who I think is Sett's father, and we'll face Jack at the end of the raid. And post the raid, we'll end up fighting Sett, who will just want to test his strength against us, but not kill him. We'll then have to deal with Jhin, the Virtuoso, who's absolutely causing problems in Ionia. We'll just approach a village full of freaking people turned into trees, really effed up stuff, and we'll end up fighting the Maker and the Witness within his raid. And we'll have to deal with Jhin at some point, because the guy's crazy and honestly kind of evil. Airis, the lure of Evelynn, will find like this Vastaya appearing character, luring people to their death, and we'll have to deal with them, and it'll tease Evelynn. I don't think we'll fight Evelynn in this raid, but this will be like a teaser for Evelynn. Maybe she'll make an appearance at the end, and kind of like a nod to a future raid where we'll actually face Evelynn. The Siege of Mistfall raid, I think that has to happen. We're fighting with the Wuju people against Kayn and Rost. Kayn has been manipulated at this point into going after a second darkened weapon that is Zolani, and we'll end up fighting Rost in the end. Will be that final raid boss. Finally, with Zed, the Order of Shadows. Zed is not an enemy, but his methods are not always good. Like, there's the reason why Xayah and Rakan are fighting him here is because Zed is corrupting the magic of Ionia, which is causing like the forest to die, which is weakening the Vastaya. So while I don't think we'll outright kill Zed, his path to success will probably go counter to our path to success to saving Ionia. And so we'll have to deal with him at some point because of that. Because he just doesn't care. Zed sees his way as the only way. There's Fiddlesticks and the Nightmare of the Dreaming Tree. If this doesn't happen, I'd be disappointed. I'm gonna be real. If we don't get the Dreaming Tree Nightmare raid, I'd be disappointed because it's so much potential here. Going back to old zones, like if we already had the Demacia expansion, which I said Demacia is gonna come at launch, Ionia won't. This would take us back to Demacia in the Lux Illuminated portion of the raid, where we're traveling through these different portal dream pockets, fighting Fiddlesticks in all of them, fighting different versions of Fiddlesticks. And the Lux Illuminated version will fight the Aberrant Mage Seeker. There's just so much potential here for an amazing raid that I need to see it happen. I really do. And I explained to you guys how that's Lux Illuminated with Lilia, and how Fiddlesticks is the Aberrant Mage Seeker. And this is the Dreaming Tree. There's also the Guardian of the Wilds raid, which is the Council. I think this will either be like a trial test kind of raid, or we'll actually fight them. They'll see us as problems and not aiding Ionia, but a cause of additional problems in Ionia. We may actually have to fight this council of creatures, of spirits within Ionia. There's Praa the Breachwalker. I mean, this guy's just going to emerge out of a pocket and we'll have to deal with it. I think Shen will lead up to this and help us to fight Praa, and Praa will be our first stepping stone into what comes after Ionia, which will be the Spirit Realm expansion. So I think Praa really leads into that well, because he's trapped in the Spirit Realm, and we'll push him back there and we'll have to deal with him again once we get into the Spirit Realm. Finally, the final raid boss in Ionia, boss of bosses, Syndra the Dark Sovereign, has some great stories, some great backlore. Her magic is literally corrupting to the point Ionia itself had to imprison her within the Dreaming Pool, and she's just sleeping there, slumbering, waiting patiently to be woken up during the Riot MMO. She'll raise that whole place from the ground, destroy it all, and we'll have to deal with her ourselves in the Riot MMO. I mean, she just screams raid boss to me. She's going to be a problem. We'll have to deal with her. Rise of the Dark Sovereign, Syndra. And those are the Ionian raid boss, the Ionian world bosses. So much potential for Ionia, guys. So much potential. So interested to hear what you guys think of Ionia. And that's the top 10 potential raid bosses for the Riot MMO.